This is the W5FC repeater, PL110.9.
Good evening, everyone. This is KF5JHA. In just about 10 minutes, we're going to begin Skynet. If you'd like to log in electronically to Skynet, go to w5fc.org and you can log in to Skynet electronically. We'll begin Skynet in about 9 minutes. KF5JHA. minutes. 4 minutes until Skynet begins. This is KF5JHA. If you'd like to sign in electronically, go to w5fc.org. You can sign in electronically to Skynet. There's several people, I think 2, 4, 6 people have already signed in electronically on Skynet. You're welcome to do so.
W5FC.
Mr. Chairman, I need to make myself very clear. If we uplink now, Skynet will be in control of your military.
But you'll be in control of Skynet, right?
That is correct, sir.
Skynet.
Good evening. The time is 9 p.m.
everyone. Does anyone need to use the repeater before I begin the 9 p.m. Skynet? This is KF5JJ. This is Kilo Foxtrot 5, Juliet Hotel Alpha. My name is Chaz. I'll be your net control for this station of the DARC Skynet. Skynet is a weekly net called every Saturday night since 2012 at 9 p.m. concerning the subject of astronomy. Our purpose is to help amateurs become more familiar with the nighttime and daytime skies, astronomy, and space, and those things in general. That is open to all amateurs interested in this topic, and we encourage your participation, comments, and suggestions for this net. Stations with priority or emergency traffic may enter this net at any time by using the pro sign break break and then your call sign. Is there any emergency or priority traffic at this time? Excuse me for a minute. Actually, about 2 minutes. My computer froze. I'm going to reboot the computer. I'll be back in just a moment. This is KF5JJ.
Skynet listeners. For anyone wondering what's going on, our net control has temporarily taken a break to reboot and reset their computer. So if you're listening, waiting to check into Skynet, you're in the right place, you're at the right time. We just need a little bit of technical assistance for our good friend Chaz by KE. No, I can't even say JHA's call sign correctly. Anyway, I'm your not net control KF5 BGM here, just filling the air, waiting for Chaz to come back.
This is going to get interesting. I rebooted the computer and my mouse is still gone. Oh well, we'll see what I can do without the script for the moment. Anyway, we're going to take some check-ins to Skynet. Right now I have electronically several people checked into Skynet. KE5I6 Tom. He's in Corpus Christi. W5BLT Bill. He's in Garland. N5LIG Dale. He's in Little Elm. K5MCD Cody. He's in Dallas. WV5OZL Brenda. She's in Dallas. N5BB Bill. He's in Irving. NV5F Virginia. She's in Fort Worth. KI5PGM Travis. He's in McKinney. And Mr. Tony. He's in Birdland. That's NT5TM. Okay, let's see. I'm going to see if I can reboot this computer. I hope I have a mouse. Oh, the mouse seems to be working. Luckily I have several screens working simultaneously, so wonderfully I've got one computer at least that's working that has the sign-ins for people. Robert, AA5AH, he's in Richardson. That is happening over on the sign-in on w5fc.org. That's the electronic sign-in for Skynet. If you'd like to sign in to Skynet electronically, you can do so there. If you'd like to sign in by voice and you are short time or low power, please come now with your call sign, slowly, phonetically, and your name and your location, and I'll log you in on Skynet. So once again, slowly, phonetically, and your name and your call sign. If you'd like to check in with low power or if you're a short time. Hearing nothing, let's see if we can go ahead and in groups of three sign in over the radio. I think I've got so far 11 different sign-ins electronically over the website. And if you are not signed in electronically, please come down slowly with your call sign, your name, and your location. We'll do this in groups of 3, and we'll sign you in right now. Come now, if you're general check-in.
Kilo Foxtrot 5, Zulu, Bravo, Lima, Bill, Farmers Branch. Kilo Foxtrot 5, Lima, Kilo Golf, David, DFW Airport.
Kilo November 5, Echo, Echo, Echo in Allen, Texas. This is Al.
That recognizes Bill. He's in Farmers Branch. David, at the airport. I assume that's the DFW airport. And Alan. Al and Alan. That's E-E-E. Okay. Come now if you'd like to sign into the Skynet with your call sign electronically, or you're welcome to sign in over the radio right now in groups of 3. Come now slowly, phonetically, with your call sign, your name, and your location. Thank you. Your patience. Right now I'm getting the script set up, yes, on my backup computer. So hold on just another 30 seconds. The next topics, astronomy charts, pictures, and live radio and video links are available online at w5fc.org right now for the complete list. Now, let's see. We've already done check-ins. Let me tell you about the 90 minutes worth of stuff that we're going to be doing tonight. A little bit less than 90 minutes at this point. Let's see. Where are we? General check-ins and announcements. Astronomical Society of Dallas events, the National Space Society, that has some information that we'll be giving you from Bill. Discussion topic of the evening, Chaz. Then recent astronomical discoveries, that would be Brenda. Was up, that would be me again. Space exploration and space history, Brenda. Constellation of the week, that would be me. Then space launches of the week, that would be Tom. Let's see now, what else? Little satellite passages, that's also Tom. Then question and answer sessions and 73 rounds. All amateurs, once again, that are licensed to transmit on this frequency are invited to check in. And we've done check-in, so let's see now. Is there anyone else that would like to check into Skynet? Come down with your call sign and your name and your location if you'd like to check into Skynet. Not hearing anything. Do we have any general announcements for this evening's net? These can be ham, astronomical, or, well, just radio related. If you'd like to give a general announcement, please come now with your call sign.
Kilo Foxtrot 5 Papa Lima Lima.
November Tango 5, Tango Mike.
Huey 1, KF5PLL. Did you have an announcement you'd like to share with us?
This is Kilo Foxtrot 5 Papa Lima Lima, Huey Stevens, Public Outreach Coordinator for the Texas Astronomical Society of Dallas. If any of you listening would be interested in hosting your own star party on the 4th Saturday of any given month, except for December, please email taskobserving@gmail.com. taskobserving@gmail.com. Back to net KF5PLL.
Huey. We used to have an observing station on the 4th Saturday of the month at Rockwall, but the participation was waning, and we only had a couple of astronomers that were located there, and so that has been given up. So right now we have no observing stations on the 4th Saturday of the month. This Saturday, that only happens about 4 times a year, so we haven't done that for quite some time. So the 4th Saturday of the month, if you're interested, please contact Huey. Thank you very much, Huey. Tony, you're up with your announcement, NT5TM. What do you have for us?
Well, none of them are as awesome as the chance to host a star party, but I'll do my best. So, tonight, our riveting afterglow movie is called Robot Monster from 1953. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but hey, it's only an hour long, it's available on YouTube, and don't worry, it won't distract you from this net. You could probably just watch it on fast forward. I don't know if the sound even makes it better. Anyway, we'll discuss it tonight at about 10:30, maybe 10:35, somewhere in there. Our usual meeting on the air and Racy's training net will take place tomorrow on this repeater at 7 o'clock for the MODA and 8 o'clock for the Racy's net. Well, the Racy's net only takes check-ins from Racy's appointees. The 7 p.m. MODA is open to everyone. We'd like to know what's been going on in your ham world. Please share. Also, please consider signing up to help at the Dallas Marathon on Sunday, December 15th. Go to your favorite search engine and search for Dallas Marathon Comms. They have a ridiculous URL I can't easily say on the air. The marathon is still short of volunteers, and if you're a beginner, help is available. They'll pair you up with somebody. Dallas Amateur Radio Club has two in-person events this week. On Tuesday, December 3rd, we'll have our regular December pizza party. Bring a pizza or something that goes with pizza, and we'll play trivia. Bill, I believe, has been working hard on a trivia game for us. The general meeting with the pizza and the trivia is at 7. The board meeting, yes, with board announcements and business, is at 6. Both, though, are free and open to the public. We'll be on the 3rd floor community room of the Dallas Medical Center, northeast corner of Webb Chapel and LBJ. Pizza. But what if barbecue is your thing? Well, that's okay, too. On Thursday, December 5th, we'll have our winter diner. That's our traditional winter dinner. at 6:30 p.m. at the Sunny Brian's Barbecue on Campbell Road in Richardson. All are welcome. Join us for fun and prizes. So lots of chances to break your diet resolutions with the Dallas Amateur Radio Club. Join us, NT 5TM, back to net.
And once again, thank you, Huey, for your announcements. Let's see now. I'm supposed to talk about all sorts of nets. We have like a couple of dozen different nets that go on throughout the week. What I'm going to suggest to all of you, if you'd like to find out the nets that we have going on, Mr. Slide Master, I think you've got a slide for the nets. Go ahead and bring that up. If you're on YouTube, you can go see the graphic that talks about the nets. But w5fc.org would give you a listing of the nets as well. We have everything from people that are hungry, people that are wanting to do emergency communications, and much more. And of course, Tony just talked about the meeting on the AirNet. And of course, we actually have an in-person meeting that happens this coming Tuesday. So lots of things. Pizza Party Tuesday. That's awesome. Thank you, Tom, for the graphic. That's great. If you don't know, we have a video version of Skynet that's going on YouTube over there. Thanks. I appreciate that. So I'm going to go back to Tom. We have an Afterglow movie that's going to happen. Robot Monsters, is that right? Tom, can you help us out with what this thing is? Give us a synopsis. Thanks.
Well, thank you, Chaz. This is KE5ICX Tom, and tonight's Afterglow movie, which you already know, is called Robot Monster from 1953. Here's the highly accurate synopsis. Roman was a romantic. Heck, it was in his name. He destroyed everyone on Earth except for 8 people too stupid to simply die when he unleashed his death ray. But being the space gorilla he was, he also had a romantic side to him as well, and Alice, one of the 8 numbskulls, was really a knockout that he didn't want to also knock off. Roman's intergalactic telephone rang. It was the Great Guidance, his boss. Guidance spoke. Roman, have you wiped out the rest of humanity? Roman replied, no, sir, I have 8 more to go. They just won't get the hint and die when I unleash the death ray. Guidance rolled his eyes. Look, the quarterly report is due and I've got to clear this planet for rocket parking. If these people are still here, I can't move on with the project. Get these people dead or I'll have your head. Get it, gorilla boy. Roman kicked the dirt, hung up the phone, and started recharging his death ray. What a way to start a Monday. Join us for Robot Monster from 1953 tonight at 10:30, in case you hadn't heard it the first 3 times. Back to net control, KE5ICX.
I appreciate that. The next thing we're going to be talking about is the Texas Astronomical Society of Dallas. Now, there's no Texas Astronomical Society of Dallas club meeting in December because there's a holiday party and a words banquet. So the next one actually happens in January 24th. That would be 2025. That'll be the next TAS meeting. And the meeting will be held at 7:30 p.m. in person at the University of Texas at Dallas. Also, there's a Zoom component, too. The featured speaker will be a TAS member, Max Cornell. His topic is going to be orbital light pollution. I've experienced that with pictures of comets that I've taken and had streaks of light through the sky because of satellites. Saturday night public observing sessions continue. Skynet was picked to be on Saturday night, so there could be an opportunity for live reports from the Texas Astronomical Society of Dallas club observing sessions. Now, tonight, It's the fifth Saturday. We haven't had observing sessions for a long time on the fifth Saturday of the month, but we usually have them on the first, second, and third Saturdays, and as you know, we're looking for somebody that would like to host a fourth Saturday. You can check the TASS website at texasastro.org for up-to-date information and details about meetings and public observing sessions. Now, let's talk about the National Space Society events and activities. Bill, N5BB, hey, this is your gig. Why don't you talk to us about it? This is KF5JJ.
Well, thank you, Chaz. This is N5BB. My name is Bill. I am the Vice President and Membership Director of the National Space Society North Texas Chapter. The National Space Society is a nonprofit group based in the U.S. which is interested in the exploration and development of space and the creation of a spacefaring civilization. North Texas chapter of the National Space Society meets at 3:30 p.m. on the second Sunday afternoon of each month. The next meeting will be our holiday party in a week on Sunday, December the 8th at the house of Bill Byram in 5BB in Irving. Our speaker will be John Quinn, the CEO of Exos Aerospace. John will discuss the next steps in suborbital rocketry and services from Exos. If you don't know about the local DFW area aerospace company, Exos is headquartered over in the Greenville, Caddo Mills area, about an hour east of Dallas. They shoot their rockets off, they launch them from Spaceport America, which is north of Las Cruces, New Mexico. This is N5BB. On the last Friday evening of each month, from 6 to 8 p.m., the North Texas chapter of the National Space Society sponsors a social event called Space Rendezvous. The location is Cheddar's Restaurant, 700 West Highway 635 in Irving. Anyone is welcome to attend and discuss human activities in space with us. No membership in any group is required. Our last space rendezvous was last night with a record 13 attendees. We had to get together a bunch of tables so we could seat everybody, including one visitor. The next space rendezvous will be held on Friday, December the 27th. Hold on. Now that. Our next National Space Society chapter, our local National Space Society chapter website is ntx.nss.org. Our group also has an active Facebook page. Just type National Space Society of North Texas into the Facebook search box. If you have any questions about the National Space Society, please contact Bill N5BB at his QRZ listed email address or at space@byram.net. That's SPACE@BYROM.net. So if you want to attend our holiday party a week from tomorrow, give me a call. We can discuss it. That's by the way, we will be gathering presents for kids, space-related presents for kids. We contribute to a toy drive for needy kids every year. So we give space-related toys to them. That's all I got. This is N5BB. Thank you, Chaz.
That space-related gifts for kids. That's wonderful. Thanks, Bill. Appreciate that. I forgot to do something over on Echolink. I was able to log in on Echolink on my backup computer. I see one person, Jay. KG5BZW. Would you like to check in over the air? I should say over Echolink. Come now if you'd like to do that over voice.
Sure. This is KQ5BDW. Jay, now whatever.
Okay. Jay's one of our regulars, so that's awesome. So, you know, I haven't seen Clay yet. Is Clay? I don't know if Clay's over on YouTube. I don't see the people on YouTube. Anyway. All right, we are located. Let's talk about the feature presentation tonight. That's what's up next on the list. So the sunspot cycle, that's what I wanted to talk about. We've talked about that because we're at a maximum right now. So slide master, slide number 2. We are located in the Virgo supercluster of galaxies. The Milky Way is the galaxy where we reside. The star that we call Sol is the solar system center and is located about 26, maybe 27,000 light years from the center of the Milky Way. Slide master, slide number 3. The sun, or another name for the sun, is called Sol, S-O-L. It's the center of our solar system. Most stars exist in groups of stars, of 2 or maybe to 1 million stars in a group. Our sun is a loner. Maybe it needs star mingle or something. No other star is part of our solar system. Our sun is estimated to be about halfway through its lifetime of 10 billion years. It was formed from a little bit of dust, but mostly gas. Most of the gas is hydrogen, and the rest is being helium. If you said the sun was made out of hydrogen and helium, you would be about 99% correct. There are trace amounts of everything else. Our closest neighboring solar system is a 3-star system we call Alpha Centaur. Its 3-star system is about 4.3 light years away. Now, a light year is the distance that light travels in a year. That's approximately 6 trillion miles, or 9.5 trillion kilometers. If we said that our sun was the solar system, we'd be about 99% correct, because the rest of the material in our solar system makes up about maybe 1% or less of the total mass. There are things that go around the sun. We say that they orbit the sun. The bigger pieces of things going around the sun we call planets. There's smaller pieces that we call minor planets or asteroids, comets, meteoroids, and even dust and molecules and even atoms. Counting from the sun outwards, the third planet from the sun is the Earth, where we live. The Earth is about 93 million miles, that's 150 million kilometers away from the sun. It takes light about 8.3 minutes to travel from the sun to the Earth. The sun is about 865,000 miles in diameter. You could place over 1 million Earths, about 1.3 million Earths, inside the sun, and maybe even have some room left over. The sun is the main source of heat and light for the Earth. It is estimated that if the sun stopped producing energy, then all of the weather changes on the Earth would cease in just a couple of weeks. Slide master, slide number 4, please. Energy that the sun produces comes from the fusion of hydrogen into helium under tremendous pressure and temperature at the center of the sun. This releases all of the energy. It takes approximately 100,000 years for the energy that is produced in the center, the core of the sun, to reach the surface of the sun. It sort of wanders out. Slide master, slide number 5. Just like the Earth, the sun has a magnetic field, a north and a south pole. Did you know that the Earth's north and south poles flip every 200 to 300,000 years or so? The Earth is overdue for a pole flip by about 500,000 years, but that's a discussion for another time. We'll talk about that in another Skynet. The sun goes through a flip of its poles approximately every 11 years. North becomes south, and south becomes north. Then in another 11 years, the poles flip back. We think we understand the reasons for this to happen. Let's talk about that. Slide master, slide number 6. The sun rotates on its axis about every 25 years. Well, at least that's the speed at its equator. But the sun is not solid. The main states of matter are solid, liquid, gas, and plasma. In a fluorescent light bulb, when you turn it on, plasma is produced and gives off light. Plasma acts similar to a gas or a liquid, so because the sun is really a giant ball of plasma, it does not rotate at the same rate near its poles as it does near its equator. The rotation rate at the sun's latitude of 75 degrees is about 33 days. Remember, at the equator, it's about 25 days. And it even rotates slower as you get nearer to its poles. Slide master, slide number 7. What does this result in? This causes the solar magnetic field to be twisted. The magnetic field lines get wound up like tightening a spring. Kinks develop along the magnetic field lines and produce effects that are observed on the surface of the Earth. These effects are seen as sunspots, prominences, and solar flares. Let's talk about those. Slide master, slide number 8. Prominences could be considered as hot gases that trace out some of the magnetic field lines on and above the surface of the sun. They can last for minutes or even days. If you're looking at YouTube, that's a beautiful picture of a prominence with all sorts of spindly looking things and arches. Yeah, kind of cool. Slide master, slide number 9. Solar flares are usually very short-lived bursts of energy and matter coming from the surface of the sun and usually only last minutes. These flares can make large amounts of matter and energy to pulse from the sun at high speeds, creating something that's called a coronal mass ejection, or CME. These can travel throughout the solar system and affect the planets. Most CMEs take 3 or 4 days to reach the Earth, but they can travel fast enough to reach Earth in just hours. On the Earth, CMEs can interact with our atmosphere and the upper atmosphere, the ionosphere, and cause aurora to be seen in the nighttime sky. Radio communications can be affected. Some of you are familiar with that. And our satellites can stop working, and the electric grid on the Earth can be overcharged and effects that can make it shut down. In September during Skynet, I presented a feature topic that at that time I talked about what happened in 1859 called the Carrington event from a massive CME. Slide master, slide number 10, please. Getting back to sunspots. The sunspots of the sun are the result of these twists in the magnetic field of the sun. There's often a pair of sunspots beside each other, a north magnetic spot and a south magnetic spot. These sunspots vary in numbers over an 11-year period of time. Every 11 years, there's a maximum number of sunspots. We are currently experiencing the solar maximum right now. Now, we won't know exactly when the solar maximum will occur until after it's happened. Well, it could be happening right now. Then in a few years from now, the sunspot number can decrease to a value of 0 for several years, and then ramp up again. Since the sun flips its north and south pole, the cycle is really a 22-year cycle. 11 years for north being at the top, and 11 years for the south being at the top. And it switches back to north at being at the top again. Slide master, slide number 11. Current solar maximum, sunspots can be large enough to see with just your solar eclipse glasses. Do you see all of those? I hope you do. Just go outside. There are sunspots on the sun that was big enough this afternoon. All you need is your solar eclipse glasses to be able to see them. If you'd like to keep track of sunspots, you can visit the website spaceweather.com. Shows you a daily picture of what the sun looks like. I hope this has given you an overview of our closest star, Sol, the sun. of you have any comments or questions or need a fill on any of this information, come now with your call sign if you need a fill or have a question. Not hearing anything. Let's see if there's any need for check-ins. If you haven't checked into Skynet, please come now with your call sign phonetically and your name and your location if you'd like to check into Skynet tonight. Right now we have 16 people that have signed in.
This is Alpha Golf, Niner, Sierra Golf, Antonio in Dallas.
Antonio, you're once again one of our regulars here on Skynet. Thanks very much. All right, let's move on to our next segment, recent astronomical discoveries. That would be Brenda, WB5OZL. It's all yours. The net's yours.
This is WB5OZL, and thank you, Chaz. So, this is an article from Science Daily. Serious stellar event. Researchers from the Curtin node of the International Center for Radio Astronomy Research, ICRAR, have made a record-breaking astrophysical discovery while simultaneously uncovering a possible explanation for the rare and extreme astrophysical event known as long-period radio transients. Associate Professor Natasha Hurley-Walker, along with Saad Horvath, a Curtin undergraduate student at the time, discovered a pulse of bright energy coming from deep space moved among archival low-frequency data from the NWA, that's Murchison Wide Field Array, a precursor radio telescope of the SKAO Square Kilometer Array Observatory. The energy pulse occurs every 3 hours and lasts 30 to 60 seconds, making it the longest period radio transient ever detected. Long-period radio transients are relatively new to science, and it has been an ongoing mystery how they generate radio waves. With this discovery, researchers believe they have also identified the probable source of the energy burst, potentially shedding light on the long radio transients. All other previously discovered transients have been deep within our busy galaxy, surrounded by stars, making it challenging to determine precisely what is generating the radio waves. Associate Professor, Hurley-Walker explains the long-period transients are very exciting, and for us to understand what they are, we need an optical image. However, when you look toward them, there are so many stars lying in the way that it's like 2001: A Space Odyssey. My God is full of stars. In a stroke of good fortune, the newly discovered transient named Gleam X J070437 was found on the outskirts of our galaxy in a much emptier region of space in the Puppis, Puppis constellation, around 5,000 light years away. Our new discovery lies far off the galactic plane, so there are only a handful of stars nearby, and we're now certain one star system in particular is generating the radio waves. The team was able to pinpoint the location of the radio waves stand by, please. And we're now certain one star system in particular is generating the radio waves. The team was able to pinpoint the location of the radio waves to one specific star using another SKR precursor, the Meerkat telescope in South Africa. Following up with the SOAR Observatory in Chile, they determined the star's spectrum, finding it was a low-mass star and M dwarf. This finding both created and answered some pressing questions. Associate Professor Hurley Walker explains, an M dwarf alone couldn't generate the amount of energy we're seeing. The M dwarfs are low-mass stars that have a mere fraction of the sun's mass and luminosity. They constitute 70% of the stars in the Milky Way, but not one of them is visible to the naked eye. Our data suggests that it is in a binary with another object, which is likely to be a white dwarf, the stellar core of a dying star. Together they power radio emission. Astronomers have detected similar pairs of objects like the one discovered in 2016, but has not previously linked them to long-period radio transients. The team is working on follow-up observations that will conclusively determine the nature of this system and the explanation of this extreme astrophysical event. Upon digging through the NWA archives, astronomers found that GleamX J070437 has been active for at least 10 years since the NWA started observing. However, it could have been active and undiscovered for even longer, implying there are still many more to be found in archives around the world. In the NWA director, Professor Stephen Tingay, said these long-period radio transients are new scientific discoveries, and the NWA has fundamentally enabled the discoveries. The NWA has a 55-petabyte archive of observations that provide a decade-long record of our universe. It is like having the data storage equivalent of 55,000 high-end home computers, one of the biggest single collections of science data in the world. It is an absolute gold mine for discovering more phenomena in our universe, and the data are a playground for astronomers, Professor Tingay said. All right, that's all I've got. Back to net, WB5OZL.
Thank you, Brenda. We have a lot of things we covered during Skynet. And the next one is going to be on a topic called What's Up, because that's what is next on our list. What's Up in Skynet is all about what's going on astronomically over the next couple of weeks and what's happened over the last couple of weeks as well. Slide Masters, that was slide number 12. You can advance to slide number 13 if you'd like. We have talked about the predicted nova of star T Corona Borealis, which may erupt at any time. It's currently at a brightness of around 10th magnitude, which is much too faint for us to see with just your two eyes. But when it goes nova, T Corona Borealis could be as bright as the North Star. Now, I live in Mesquite, and it's really super light polluted here, but I can see the North Star. If I block the bright lights that are close to me, then I can see the North Star. So this could become bright enough for us to see even inside the city. But it's not nova yet. We'll let you know. Slide Master, slide number 14. This image, if you're looking at the video version of Skynet, this image was taken on Friday, November the 29th, using my ZWOC star. It's about the sun. There's large sunspot complexes on the sun. Again, they're so large that you can use your solar eclipse glasses to see them. I already talked about the 11 years solar maximum just earlier tonight. If you don't have solar eclipse glasses, you can go to spaceweather.com and see the daily pictures of the sun. Pretty cool. Slide master, slide number 15, please. Now, I've talked about this. The ZWO Seastar is sort of an astronomical telescopic camera. I took this image of Comet C2023A3T Atlas on November the 20th, about 10 days ago. While I was at the Brookhaven campus of Dallas College, I was surrounded by huge bright lights, but I was still able to get this with this piece of equipment. I was unable to spot the comet with binoculars, and I didn't even try with a telescope, but might have been able to see with a telescope. Excuse me. Slide master, slide number 16, please. On November the 22nd, the moon's phase was the third quarter, so the current phase of the moon is a waning crescent. New moon is on December the 1st, that's tomorrow. The first quarter moon occurs on December the 8th. On December the 12th, the moon is at perigee, which is the point in the moon's orbit that is closest to the Earth at a distance of 365,361 kilometers. December the 15th, the moon is full. On December the 22nd is the third quarter moon phase. On December the 24th, that's on Christmas Eve, the moon will be at apogee, which is the point in the moon's orbit that is furthest from the Earth at a distance of 404,485 kilometers. Slide master, slide number 17, please. December the 3rd, the moon and Mars are in conjunction in the east-southeastern evening sky. Yep, we've got planets in the evening sky. If you look over toward the southwest, the really bright thing in the southwest in the evening sky, that's Venus. High in the south, that's Saturn. Coming up over in the east is Jupiter, and behind that is Mars. So you've got 4 different planets. If you want to see a 5th planet, you can look down at your feet. If you don't understand that one, you can contact me later. Slide masters, slide number 8, please. On December the 4th, the moon and the planet Venus and the asteroid Ceres are in conjunction in the southwestern evening sky. You'll need at least a pair of binoculars to see Ceres, the asteroid. Slide master, slide number 19. December the 7th is the conjunction of the moon and Saturn in the southwestern evening sky. If you look at it early enough, they'll be almost straight south. And slide master 20, on December the 8th, the moon and the planet Neptune are in conjunction in the evening sky. You'll need to have a telescope, not just binoculars, to find the planet Neptune. Fainter, but I've seen it through a telescope. Yep. Slide master, slide number 21, please. If I can check him in, because he's not inside, but he's scratching at the door. Bob the cat. There are 2 meteor showers that peak on the same night. That's the night of December the 8th and 9th. The peak of the monotherid meteor shower could produce around a half a dozen meteors in an hour or so. The Sigmund hydroid meteor shower could produce as many as about a half a dozen meteors as well. Now, how do you tell which meteors go with what shower? By tracing their paths backwards to see their origination, or back to where their radiant point is. That's how you can tell. The best time to observe meteors is usually the hour before dawn, because that's the side of the Earth that's running into this debris. If you want to get more information about meteors and meteor showers, you can go visit the International Meteor Organization, IMO.net, or the American Meteor Society at amsmeteors.org. Slide master, slide number 22. And to ID, my name is Chaz, and this is KF5JJ, and this is Skynet. Flight 22 on December the 12th is the conjunction of the moon and the planet Uranus in the evening sky. Now the Pleiades are close by as well. The Pleiades is that cluster of stars that looks like a teeny tiny dipper, but it's not the little dipper. Slide Master, slide number 23. Now, do any of you out there in Radio Land have any questions or need a fill on any of the information? Or maybe you just have a general astronomy question. Come now with your call sign if you have a question or need a fill. We're going to go on to the segment number 7. That's space exploration and space history. I think this is the Brenda and Chaz show tonight. Brenda, this segment is yours, WB5OZL. It's up to you. Oh, wait, no. I think Tom is doing it tonight. KE5ICX. Go ahead.
All right, thank you, Chaz. This is KE5ICX. Let me get the slide up here.
He did the first days in the history, which he got from the archives. But he asked me to read it, so I will do so. So here in news, Good Night Moon. Astronomers snap photo of Earth's departing mini-moon. Astronomers used a 2-meter twin telescope to catch a see-you-soon image of the departing asteroid 2024 PT5. A temporary mini-moon snared by Earth's gravity for nearly 2 months before departing back into the solar system can be seen in a new image from the 2-meter twin telescope in Spain. The near-Earth asteroid, NEO 2024 PT. September 29, 2024. From the start of its occupancy, scientists studying this second moon including Carlos de la Fuente Marcos of the Universidad Complutense de Madrid, were aware that this would be a temporary capture lasting no longer than a few weeks. That prediction came to fruition on Monday, November 25th, when 2024 PT5 departed Earth to return to its usual home in the Arjuna asteroid belt. This secondary asteroid belt circles the Sun in an orbit close to that of Earth at an average distance of about 93 million miles from the solar system's central star. With a width of just 37 feet, equivalent to the height of 5 stacked Christmas trees, artificial ones at least, 2024 PT5 wasn't clear to the vast majority of skywatchers. Marcos and his colleagues have been studying it with a 2-meter twin telescope, TTT, which is operated by the Instituto de Astrofísica de Canarias and is located in Santa Cruz de Tenerife, Spain. This allowed the team to make a number of discoveries about the asteroid, including the fact that its composition indicates it could be a piece of the moon blasted away by an asteroid impact. The astronomers' eyes weren't too filled with tears over the departure of 2024 PT5 and the end of its spell at Earth's second moon to stop them from imaging it as it moved away. Next, warm up this holiday season with NASA's new SLS rocket engine fireplace video. NASA is inviting you to sit by a homey rocker-powered hearth this holiday season. The space agency created a virtual fireplace lit by the engines of the huge space launch system. SLS rocket, stand by. Good evening. The time is 10 p.m. Oh, sorry. Hold on. which sent the uncrewed Artemis 1 mission to the moon in November 2022. Just what you need for the holidays, the coziness of a crackling and roaring rocket engine. NASA wrote in a description of the 8-hour-long fireplace video. Boy, you can stay up late to see that, which is posted on YouTube on Tuesday, November 26th. Technically, this fireplace packs the heat of 4 RS-25 rocket engines and a pair of solid rocket boosters, just enough to get you to the moon and get through the holidays with your in-laws. NASA added a few other touches to the fireplace as well. For example, the hearth sports a framed photo of the Artemis 1 Orion spacecraft in lunar orbit and another of the logo of the agency's Artemis program. Birthdays. Richard R. Arnold, November 26, 1963, flew on STS-119, Soyuz MS-08, Expedition 5556. James Weatherby, November 27, 1952, STS 32, 52, 62, 86, 102, and 113. Kenneth Camara, November 29th, STS 37, 56, and 74. This week in space history, Skylab 4, November 22nd, 1973. The first Thanksgiving in space happened. Skylab 4 astronauts Gerald Carr, Edward Gibson, and William Pogue celebrated after a grueling 6.5-hour spacewalk. The first part of their spacewalk was spent deploying experiments and replacing film in the solar observatory. The remainder of the time was used to repair a malfunctioning antenna. The crew reported that the food was good, but slightly bland. The quantity and type of food consumed was rigidly controlled because of their strict diet. Although the crew would have preferred to use more condiments to enhance the taste of the food, the amount of salt that they could use was restricted for medical purposes. By the third mission, the NASA kitchen had increased the availability of condiments, and salt and pepper was in liquid solutions. Granular salt and pepper brought aboard by the second crew was little more than air pollution. And on November 24th, in 1639, was the first observation of the transit of Venus by Jeremiah Horrocks and William Crabtree. It helped establish the size of the solar system. Venus was the first planet to be explored by spacecraft. NASA's Mariner 2 successfully flew by and scanned the cloud-covered world on December. Including NASA's Magellan, which mapped the planet's surface with radar. Stand by. On November 24th, 1969, Apollo 12 splashed down at 2:58 p.m. CST near American Samoa in the Pacific Ocean. This wrapped up the second successful crewed lunar landing mission, boasting a pinpoint landing by CDR Charles P. Conrad and LMP Alan Bean in the Ocean of Storms region near Surveyor 3, while command pilot Richard Gordon orbited in CM Yankee Clipper 60 miles above. November 24th, 2021, DART, Double Asteroid Redirection Test, was a NASA space mission aimed at testing a method of planetary defense against near-Earth objects. It was designed to assess how much a spacecraft impact deflects an asteroid through its transfer of momentum when hitting the asteroid head-on. This selected target asteroid, Dimorphos, is a minor planet moon of the asteroid Didymos. Neither asteroid poses an impact threat to Earth. The collision shortened Dimorphos' orbit by 32 minutes, greatly in excess of the predefined success threshold of 73 seconds. DART's success in deflecting Dimorphos was due to the momentum transfer associated with the recoil of the ejected debris, which is substantially larger than that caused by the impact itself. November 24th, 1947, Aero-B launch. Aero-B was an early-sounding rocket that was essentially a larger, upgraded version of the WAC Corporal. It was one of two rockets developed by the U.S. Navy in the 1940s, the other being the Viking, to loft scientific instruments into the upper atmosphere. Between 1947 and 85, hundreds of Aero-Bs of different designs were launched, mostly from White Sands missile range for both military and civilian purposes. Orders for more Aero-Bs from government agencies begin to arrive at Aerojet. Aerojet has made various versions of the Aero-B ever since. November 26, 2018, NASA's InSight mission landed on Mars. It was the first robotic explorer to study the inner space of Mars, its crust mantle and core. November 26, 2011, Mars Curiosity launched. It landed in August 2012 for its mission to study the ancient habitability and the potential for life on the red planet. Apollo 12 splashed down in the Pacific Ocean on November 24th. In 1969, I think we already talked about that. Stand by for reset. In 1659, Dutch mathematician and astronomer Christian Huygens saw a dark region on Mars, Syrtis Major, the first Martian surface feature spotted from Earth. Syrtis Major is a volcanic plain on Mars. Huygens observed it through his telescope and made a drawing of it. 1963, just 6 days after President John F. Kennedy's assassination, President Lyndon B. Johnson announced that NASA's Launch Operations Center would be renamed the John F. Kennedy Space Center in honor of the late president. This center on Merritt Island, Florida, has served as the launch place for some of NASA's most defining flights, including the Skylab Orbital Workshop Apollo 11, all of the shuttle missions, and most recently the Artemis 1 launch. November 29th, 1961, astronaut John Glenn was selected to be the first American sent into Earth orbit. Scott Carpenter was named as the backup. A public announcement wasn't made until early December. Glenn would launch in the Friendship 7 capsule just a few months later on February 20th, 1962. It was on this Mercury Atlas 6 mission when the automatic system and his craft malfunctioned that Glenn's skills as a pilot would truly be tested. Glenn's ability to successfully maneuver his capsule through its second and third orbits was a true testament to his skill and demeanor. Glenn went on to be a four-term senator for Ohio and became the oldest person to fly in space when he launched on STS-95 in 1998. That is all we have. Back to net. This is WB50ZL.
Brenda, now, is there anyone that would like to check into Skynet that has not done so? Come now phonetically with your call sign and your name and your location if you'd like to check into Skynet. Right now we have 17 people that have signed in.
This is Whiskey Bravo 4 Mike Foxtrot India WB4MFI Ted Dallas Low Power.
B4, MFI, Ted, you're one of our regulars too. And I don't know how you do this with low power. You sound like you're coming through on at least 50 watts. So thank you very much for signing in. Okay, the next segment, number 8, is mine once again. That would be Miss Carolyn's Constellation of the Week. Slide Master, slide number 25. Miss Carolyn's Constellation of the Week is named in honor of Silent Key Carolyn, KC5OZT. Carolyn contributed to Skynet each week, almost from its beginning in 2012. Yep, we've been doing this since 2012 until May of 2019 with a detailed look at one particular constellation each week. Since there are about 52 easily visible constellations seen over North Texas throughout the year, out of the 88 total number of constellations, so Miss Carolyn covered the entire sky as seen over North Texas in a year. In her honor, we have continued that tradition of a constellation per week and named this segment after her. Miss Carolyn's Constellation of the Week this week is Andromeda, the princess. Now, I've told you about the myth behind Cassiopeia in the past and Andromeda. Cassiopeia is the queen, Cepheus is the king, Andromeda is the princess, Perseus is the hero, Pegasus is the flying horse, and Cetus the sea monster. Every one of these characters are constellations in the sky. Slide Master, slide number 26. One of the most important things for Skynet are the jokes of the week. That's coming up next. Here we go. How does a princess screw in a light bulb? Well, she holds the bulb in the socket and waits for the world to revolve around her. Why didn't the Disney princess Elsa go to the doctor when she got sick? Because the cold never bothered her anyway. If you've never seen the movie Frozen, you don't know what I'm talking about. Who is the hottest Disney princess? Well, it's got to be Cinderella. Get it? Cinderella. Oh, okay. My daughter is angry with me for incorrectly quoting The Princess Bride. Unbelievable. By the way, my youngest daughter's favorite movie for the longest time was The Princess Bride. Yep. Why did the Princess Leia contract coronavirus on purpose? Because she went to Wuhan. She went to Wuhan. Get it? Okay, one more. Princess Elsa would never catch the coronavirus because she's the master of self-isolation. Okay, maybe that's enough of those jokes for the moment. Slide Master, slide number 27. This is KF5JHA Skynet, and my name is Chaz. Number 27. Almach is the Gamma Andromeda. David Hutchinson writes in the TASS newsletter that this star is a beautiful double star with good color contrast with a yellow primary star and greenish blue secondary star. It sort of reminds him of Alberio and Cygnus. We've talked about Alberio and Cygnus. It's a famous double star. Slide Master, slide number 28. M31 is the famous Andromeda galaxy, one of the finest deep sky showpiece objects in the heavens. It's bright enough to be visible to the naked eye from a dark sky site. Even in light polluted skies, it can be seen with binoculars. Yep, I've seen it with a telescope at Brookhaven campus. M31 is best viewed in lower powers if you're trying to take in the entire whole galaxy at once. Higher powers can be used to look at the details of the galaxy. M31 spans over 3 degrees of the sky, so it's big enough that there's a lot of details that can be seen. Recent estimates put M31 at about 2.65 million light years from the Earth, making it the furthest object visible to the naked eye for most people. Some sharp-eyed folks can see M33 in triangulum under dark sky conditions. It's just a bit further away. But most people, M31 is as far as they can see. Slide Master, slide number 29. the companion galaxies of M31. It's an elliptical galaxy that appears spherical in shape. At low powers, especially in smaller telescopes, it shows little detail, so it's almost indistinguishable from a fuzzy star. In fact, there's a star of similar brightness very close by. You may have to look at photographs of M31 and M32 to be able to tell which one of the objects is a star and which is the galaxy. Slide master, slide number 30. M110 is another companion galaxy of M31. It appears further out from the nucleus of M31 than what M32 does. M32 and M110 are analogous to the Magellanic Clouds that the Milky Way has. But whereas the Magellanic Clouds are regular galaxies, M32 and M31 are elliptical galaxies. Also, like the Milky Way, the Andromeda Galaxy has other, smaller companion galaxies that are further out. M32 and M110 can be observed with smaller aperture instruments from dark sky sites. I've even seen both of them. In fact, M31, M32, and M110, I've seen them in a pair of 20 by 80 binoculars. Dennis Harwell pointed out with his 50 millimeter refractor that M31, under dark sky conditions, he's been able to see all three of them. Using a long focal length eyepiece, which is provided a magnification of only about 11 or 12 power, he could see all three galaxies. Wow. Slide master, slide number 31. This is called a challenge object. It's called G1. It's a globular cluster in the Andromeda Galaxy, M31. It orbits around M31 at a distance of about 100,000 light years from the galaxy's nucleus. It is estimated to have about 300,000 stars. If we could remove that object from M31 and place it next to the Omega Centaur in the sky, Omega Centaur is an awesome globular cluster in the Milky Way, it would be brighter than Omega Centaur. Wow. And this is KF5JJ, and this is Skynet. Slide master, slide number 32. Now, there are more Astronomical League observing program objects in the constellation of Andromeda, the Princess. I've given you just a sampling of some of those objects. The Astronomical League has at last count 74 different observing programs. Most of them have about 100 objects. Now, if you observe just 10 different objects in an observing program each month, then you can earn an observing certificate and a pen from the Astronomical League in about a year. Slide master, slide number 33. And that is Miss Carolyn's Constellation of the Week, Andromeda, the Princess. I want to thank my friends Dave Hutchinson and Dennis Harwell for research and words on deep sky objects that I use, borrow, and steal for every Skynet. I also use at times the website constellation-guide.com for information. Now, next week, I'll be taking a look at Aries the Rim and Triangulum the Triangle, two smaller constellations in the northern sky. And this is KF5JJ, and this is Skynet. The next segment, segment number 9, space launches for the week. We got plenty of time to look over the clock. Tom, KE5ICX, I think that's up to you. It's your net.
Well, thank you, Chaz, and take a breather. You've been at it, and Miss Brenda have been at it all night long. Okay, I'll do this, and if you'd like, I can do the next segment if we have time, which is satellite passages. Would you like me to do that too?
Do both at the same time?
Okay, get yourself a glass of water or something. Okay, this is what we got. December 2nd, Falcon 9 launch of the Sirius XM-9. That'll be at 11 a.m. from Kennedy Space Center, Launch Complex 39A. This satellite will deliver radio services for the Sirius XM service. The satellite, which will eventually be positioned in geostationary orbit, is based on Maxar's 1300 class platform. The first stage booster of the Falcon 9 is scheduled to land on a drone ship in the Atlantic Ocean. Next up will be the New Glenn NG-1 mission. This will launch from Launch Complex 36. No date as of yet. The New Glenn rocket will launch the company's Blue Ring spacecraft, which is capable of both hosting and deploying multiple payloads. Blue Origin will attempt to land on the first stage booster on a sea-based landing platform called Jacqueline. In the spring, New Glenn will launch Escapade. This will be from Launch Complex 36. It would be a pair of identical spacecraft, Escape and Plasma Acceleration and Dynamic Explorers, or Escapade mission. The two satellites, named Blue and Gold, will make a roughly 11-month journey to Mars, where they'll then perform about an 11-month science mission while orbiting the red planet. Also in 2025 will be launched from SLC-41, the United Launch Alliance Vulcan Centaur rocket, which will launch on a second demonstration flight with Sierra Space Dream Chaser cargo vehicle for the International Space Station. The Dream Chaser is a lifting body resupply spacecraft that will launch on top of a rocket and land on a runway. This will be Dream Chaser's first flight into space. Now, let me give you satellite passages over the next couple of days. You can get this information from heavensabove.com. We have the International Space Station. Let me set this up. Hold on. Okay, on December 1st, we do have two passes. The better one is the second one at 1921 in the evening. Out of the northwest, reaches highest point at 26 degrees at 1923, and it'll fall into shadow at 1923. Then we have on December 2nd, a minus 3.8 magnitude, very good, 1833 in the evening. Out of the northwest, reaches highest point at 60 degrees at 1836, and it'll fall to the southeast at 1837. Then we have also December 3rd, 90 minutes later, pretty good pass as well, a little lower. This one is 1922 in the evening out of the west. It reached its highest point at 18 degrees at 1924, and it'll fall at 1926 to the south-southwest. Then we have December 5th, good pass, minus 3.5 magnitude at 1744 in the evening. Reaches highest point at 1747 at 75 degrees, and will fall to the southwest at 1750. Next is the Tianfeng Space Station. By the way, with the additional modules, it's easier to see now, but it is a lot dimmer than the International Space Station, but even still, worth looking at. I've seen them both passing over at around the same time, different directions, of course. Really kind of cool. I have one good pass here. Actually, I'll give you two. December 4th, minus 0.6 magnitude at 6:17 in the evening. Reaches its highest point at 6:20. The southeast, and it'll fall to the east-northeast at 6:23. Then the next pass, December 6th, is a good one, minus 2.2 magnitude. In fact, this one I recommend. 5:59 in the evening out of the west-southwest, reaches its highest point at 6 a.m. At 84 degrees, or almost overhead out of the south-southeast, and it'll fall to the east-northeast at 6:03. Okay, Chas, that's it for me. Back to you, KE5ICX.
Thank you, Tom. I appreciate this. Tom does these things every week. Yeah, I do some segments every week too, but that's the way it goes. All right. Currently, we have 18 people that are checked in. That's over the electronic sign-in or on Echolink or, I don't know, smoke signals. I've got 18 people checked in. If we have anyone that would like to check in over the radio right now, come with your call sign, slowly, phonetically, and your name and your location, and we can check you in for Skynet. Maybe we've got somebody out there with questions or comments that they'd like to make. This is going to be toward the end right now. Not much time left. If you'd like to have a question answered or you'd like to make a comment, please come now with your call sign and your name. And on time so we can start the Afterglow movie on time. That's awesome. Tonight we had 18 hams participating on the air and over Echo Link and electronic modes. Thank you all who checked in on the evening. Hope you've had a good time here checking in tonight. And check in next week and every Saturday night at 9 p.m. to discuss astronomy, space, and space exploration on this net, where the sky is never the limit. Yes. Always looking for new net control stations for this net and for all other DARC nets. If you'd like to try your hand at this, hey, if I can do this, you can do this too. Just send an email to nets@w5fc.org. You can follow topics and discussions about this net and astronomy in general on Facebook and X, as well as the audio and video streams and video archives and other useful internet resources by going to w5fc.org at the conclusion of this net. So until next Saturday night, this is Chaz, KF5JJ, and I'll be closing the net at the local time, 10:28 in a few seconds. Local time, and that's 10:28 p.m. local time, and returning this repeater to the normal amateur use. 783, everyone, and enjoy the evening discovering the universe. Well, at least your backyard universe. This is Chaz, KF5JJ.
And thank you, Chaz. This is KE5I6. We'll be back in about 5 minutes. 5 minutes, that's plenty of time to go make some popcorn. And we'll be talking about our wonderful movie, Robot Monster from 1953. It'll be great. Come back in 5.
We'll stay.
I'm completely operational and all my circuits are functioning perfectly.
Afterglow movie net.
Okay, time's up. Your popcorn should be done. 4 minutes is average. Don't go 4.5 minutes. Don't go 5 minutes. That will overcook your popcorn. And if it is over 5 minutes, or you're pulling it out of the microwave right now, your fire alarm is probably going off too. This is Tom, KE5ICX, and I have generously decided to donate my time to tonight's Afterglow Movie Net as Net Control. So, tonight's movie is called Robot Monster, or in a reissue later on, in order to keep from being fined by the Better Movie Bureau or possibly Amnesty International, it was renamed Monster from Mars. So, it's a 1953 independently made American black and white 3D science fiction horror film, remembered in later decades as one of the worst movies ever made. It was produced and directed by Phil Tucker, written by Wyatt Ordung, and stars George Nader, Claudia Barrett, and George Barrows. The production company was Three Dimensional Pictures. The film was distributed by Astor Pictures. Robot Monster tells the story of an alien-robot romance mission to Earth to destroy humanity. He manages to kill all but 8 survivors who have become immune to his death ray. Roman runs afoul of the great guidance, his leader, when he becomes attracted to the human Alice. She's the eldest daughter of a surviving scientist, and he refuses to harm her. The great guidance must now come to Earth and finish what the moon robot started. I could read this whole script, but this whole story synopsis, but I think you'd fall asleep. So I'm not going to do that. You'll find out why when we start really beating up this film. I will tell you about the production. 25-year-old writer-director Tucker made Robot Monster in 4 days for an estimated $16,000, although film journals from the time reported it cost $50,000. Except for a few scenes at a house in Los Angeles and a building site near Dodger Stadium, most footage was filmed outdoors at Bronson Canyon, the site of innumerable motion pictures and TV settings, one of which I remember, Batman and the Batcave. It also included stock footage from Flight to Mars and 1 million BC. Its working titles were Monsters from the Moon and Monsters from Mars. Principal photography for Robot Monster wrapped on March 23, 1953. Robot Monster's very low budget did not allow for robot costume as first intended, so Tucker hired his friend Barrows, who made his own gorilla suit to play Roman. Tucker then added a space helmet similar to those used in Republic serials, such as Radar Men from the Moon. Robot Monster is similar in plot to Invaders from Mars, released a month earlier by 20th Century Fox. Both films contain a young boy stumbling upon an alien invasion who is captured as he struggles to save his family and himself. And maybe a director or two. As the alien commences to final destruction of Earth, the boy awakens to find it is all a dream. Barrett recalled in an interview that the film's original screenplay was designed as reality. The director Tucker changed his mind and then shot a new twist ending that showed the film's story had been the boy's dream and it was about to come true. In Robot Monsters opening credits, N.A. Fisher Chemical Products is given prominent credit for the billion bubble machine used as part of its romance communications device for reporting to his superior about great guidance. The film was preceded in theaters by Stardust in Your Eyes, a one-reel 3D monologue by comic impressionist Trustin Howard, performing under the stage name Slick Slavin. That sounds like a winner. I'll have to go look that one up. Robot Monster was shot and projected in dual-strip polarized 3D. The stereoscopic photography in the film is considered by many critics to be high quality, especially for a film whose crew had little experience with the newly developed camera rig. Producer Al Zimbalist later told New York Times that shooting the film in 3D, which involved using another camera, added an extra $4,510 and 54 cents to the budget. How did they get that so exactly? And one more thing I'll say, which is was kind of an eye-opener to me. Robot Monsters' music score was composed by Elmer Bernstein, who composed Cat Women of the Moon the same year, and later the more prestigious Great Escape, The Magnificent Seven, The Ten Commandments, Michael Jackson's Thriller music video, and Ghostbusters. Bernstein recalled he was stuck in a period where he was gray-listed because of his left-wing politics and only offered minor films, but said he enjoyed the challenge of trying to help the film. Ordung stated that Bernstein scored the film with an 8-piece orchestra, and Capitol Records expressed interest in producing an album. One critic told how he had watched the film as a teenager when it was first shown on television in 1954 and said it was one of Elmer Bernstein's best very early scores. I would agree with that as a motion picture score aficionado. Okay, enough of that, enough of my talking. It's now time to take check-ins. So this is what we'll do. We'll take check-ins. You give me your call sign, your name, and did you see our fine film? You do not have to have seen the film to participate in our net. In fact, it may actually have better material to offer on alternate films or just comments about our comments. Those actually are probably even more entertaining than people that have seen the film. At any rate, that's how it goes. We'll talk about plot, followed by characterization, followed by special effects, or anything else you want to rant about. So we'll go ahead and get started. I will take check-ins. Please come with your call sign, your name, and did you see tonight's wonderful film, Robot Monster from 1953?
This is November 5 Bravo Bravo, Bill and Irving. Oh, Tom. Something hit me in the head. Was it all a dream? Did I really watch this movie? Yeah, I guess I watched it. BB.
November Tango 5, Tango Mike, Tony in Dallas. Yep, I watched it.
Kilo Bravo 9, Sierra Oscar Kilo, Sean Fort Worth. Yes, I did watch this film. November Victor 5, Foxtrot, Virginia in Fort Worth. Yes, I saw this.
Whiskey Bravo 5, Oscar Zulu Lima, Brenda in Dallas. Yes, I saw it.
Kilo 5 Bravo Zulu Whiskey J wherever saw the MST 3K version.
let me go ahead and get those folks checked in. We've got N5BB, Mr. Bill in Irving. Yep, he saw it. NT5TM, Tony in Dallas. He finally watched the movie all the way through. Good for you. Hey, you get a gold star. KB9, SOK, Sean in Fort Worth. Yep, he saw the film. NV5F, Virginia, Fort Worth. Yep, she saw the film. WB5OZL, Brenda in Dallas. Yep, she saw the film. KG5BZW, Jade near Weatherford. Yeah, he reluctantly said he saw the film. Anyone else? Want to check in? Please come with your call sign now and your name, and did you see tonight's film, Robot Monster from 1953?
Was it my turn?
No, I was asking for additional check-ins. Turn the radio up. Anyone else? And then I'll let Bill speak. Okay, well, I think we got all our usual suspects here and accounted for. So, Bill, you're first on the list, N5BB. You get to tell us what you thought about the plot to our fine film. Please go ahead.
This is N5BB. Like I said earlier, I think I was hit on the head. Saw a dream sequence. Did I really watch this movie? Oh my. I was confused. I was really confused because it looked like some people having a picnic, family, meeting some scientists, the archaeologists, and then it changed to this robot movie. And then right at the start, there were also these dinosaurs and lizards fighting each other in the horrible footage. So I was starting to think that it was either a thrown together, just throw everything at us. Just keep throwing these different scenes you filmed at us. They don't have to make any sense. But then I finally started to think, well, maybe it was a dream sequence. Why? Because the little girl was killed. And you don't kill little girls like that in films like this. You just don't do that. So, yeah. If you didn't get to see the last couple of minutes of the film, it's like The Wizard of Oz. Didn't really happen. What do I say? Roman is evil. Is he supposed to be Roman? Is this supposed to be some Roman horrible warrior? I don't know. Why do they call him Robot Man? They hate humans. Why would they put man in there? And of course, why is he wearing a gorilla suit? Well, the reason we know, of course, is that the actor already had a gorilla suit. But it doesn't make any sense at all. At all. As his helmet didn't make any sense, or the antennas on it. Why would you wear a helmet like that with no oxygen or other atmosphere? You're not carrying around any atmosphere. You just got a helmet on your head. Oh boy. And the silliest thing, of course, is Roman having these continuing arguments with the controller, director, whoever he was, that was giving him directions. Go kill all the humans. More. You haven't killed all of them. There's still some existence. There's 8. No, there's 6. I want you to kill every single one of them. Now. Kill the girl. Kill the boy. Kill them all. That was silly. Of course, this was in 1953. What else happened in 1953? Well, I was born. Dwight D. Eisenhower was elected president. And this film was made, was released. Oh my golly. I have a few quotes that I wrote down. You look like a pooped out pinwheel. That's right. That's when the boy called Roman. You look like a pooped out pinwheel. What's a pooped out pinwheel? They have the calcinator death ray.
No.
There actually is something called calcination. It's where you heat something up to... It's not a death ray. But they thought it sounded good. The wedding, the dad said, when they were talking about the wedding, this is going to be the biggest social event of the year. The whole town will show up. Ha, ha, ha. They continue to talk. The controller, or whatever he is at the distance they communicate with, he keeps saying the planet Earth has been rotated half a revolution. No. It rotated. It didn't have half a revolution. Had a half of a rotation. Half a revolution. So they get their physics wrong. They liked Jacob's ladders. Why? Was little cheap little things they could throw everywhere. It made no sense. Why does Roman's controller have up all these Jacob ladders around him? No reason. None at all. Zero. Let's see. I don't know. It's just silly. Of course, the romance out of nowhere, all that stuff. The whole thing is silly. And the really funny part is Roman becoming infatuated with Alice. Anyway, it's all a dream. It's all the plot I got. That's all they gave us in Fabibi.
Well, thank you, Bill, and thank you for your comments. Next up is Tony, NT5TM. Tony, please continue the discussion from KE5ICX.
You know, it's not often that a movie makes me long for the coherence and riveting plot of Plan 9 from Outer Space, but this movie did it. Its only redeeming feature, as is unfortunately true of others that we've watched, is that it was short. Particularly when speeding bits of it up, it was very easy to watch it between TechNet and Skynet, even while doing other things. So, yay for that. It didn't take too big of a bite out of my life or stop me from doing the laundry. I don't understand the role the bubbles were meant to play in the plot. They just kept randomly appearing in different scenes. I don't understand the symbolism of the bubbles or their meaning. Perhaps there's hope somewhere. Of course, I always just loathe the "it was all a dream" device. The "it's all a dream" thing is just horrendous. Yikes. And yeah, really don't have anything. Oh, yes, I have one more thing to say. I have often said, sadly, you know, when I've watched a real clunker, that it's depressing because it takes just as much work to make a bad movie as it does to make a good one. It must be very hard to tell sometimes whether you're in a lemon, a bomb, or not. No, this is the exception. At least it took almost no effort, and the actors were ready to go do something else after just a few days. So that was good. I'm sure they all appreciated that. NT5TM.
Thank you, Tony. Thanks for those comments. That was kind of short for you. Okay, next up is Sean, KB9SOK. Sean, pick it up.
Yeah, this is KB9SOK. Well, yeah, this was a rough one. This is definitely up there with the Creeping Terror and Jetstream, and it might have beat them both for the worst movie ever. Yeah, the whole thing was clearly, it seemed like the writing was essentially like it really was from a 7-year-old boy's dream. Like, he woke up and decided someday when I get older, I'm going to write a movie about my dream. And he did. And that's what we got, because this thing made absolutely no sense. You know, and I agree. I'm also not a fan of the whole dream sequence that we've seen in many TV series and in a few movies. It was obvious that's what was happening when the boy passed out in front of the cave, because everything dramatically changed. So yeah, it's clear that it was just a dream, you know, from this kid's mind, because the thing just made no sense. Everything from the bubble machine to supposedly this guy's high-tech equipment where he kept having to move the bunny ears to receive a signal from another planet. And exactly how does supposedly this guy makes this serum that makes it so you can't ever get sick. How does that protect you against a ray beam? That makes no sense at all either. It's just one thing after another in this. I mean, it actually even starts with the name of the movie, Robot Monster. There was no robots. That made no sense. And, how did the alien from the other planet shoot lightning bolts out of his finger, but it reached all the way from his planet to ours? How did he make the dinosaurs magically reappear to destroy the humans? The whole thing was silly. I don't know really what they were going for in this. I don't know if the whole thing was about how after he spent time on Earth, he started to have feelings because it sounds like from their planet, no one thinks for themselves. They all just follow Central Command or Central Leader and just do what they're told. They don't have feelings. And after he spends apparently a few days on Earth, he starts to have feelings. So I don't know if that was the point. But yeah, there's just one ridiculous scene after another. And then, of course, we had our, a few of the tropes, as always, when the alien comes to Earth, he falls in love with one of the women, and he's just got to have her, which makes no sense at all. And this thing was just, literally, you could go through scene by scene and just completely tear this plot apart. I won't do that. I won't bore everybody with every section. I'm sure everybody will pick out a part that they really dislike and talk about it. But anyway, that's all I got for this round. Back to net. KB9SOK.
All right, thank you, Sean. Thanks for your comments. How do you follow that? Well, Virginia will follow that. NV5F, Virginia, what can you add? I bet you loved Robot Monster, didn't you? From KE5ICX.
Well, thank you. I'm really tired, so my comments might be just as incoherent as this movie. I think the framing device of the kid and it all being his ridiculous dream was probably what they started with, and they couldn't really think of anything good because they didn't really have a good robot or a good monster, so they just made this piece of crap up, I guess. I don't know. It was like they were just taking every possible science fiction monster movie, dinosaurs, rockets, robots. There were no robots, as was said before. They had a gorilla suit to be a monster. I don't know. I was confused as soon as there was, like, this kid passed out, and then there was, suddenly lizards fighting, and I guess that was the whole Earth getting death rate, and there were somehow lizards came. I don't know. It didn't make a lot of sense to me. And then the middle part where, you know, everything kind of settled down, and it was the humans versus the Roman, and that was all disjointed. And there was a guy trying to be a hero, and then there was a romance, and then there was a little girl getting killed, and then the screaming woman kicking and screaming, very 50s. And then somehow it was all, you know, just a dream. So I guess everything was fine at the end. So I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't have a whole lot to say about this thing. The fact that the Roman and then that the boss of the Roman were the exact same person. They had the same voice and the same, you know, it's just basically him playing two parts. That was dumb. And I don't know. It had every stereotype that you could think of. You know, kind of a scientist guy and a young couple and a mom and some kids. I don't know. Anyway, sorry, don't have a whole lot to add. It was rather incoherent and kind of a rip-off at the end. So the whole dream thing, I felt kind of ripped off after all the time and emotion I put into watching it in D5S.
All right, thank you, Virginia. And don't feel bad. I'm sure we can fire up some additional comments here, and you'll have a whole bunch of new comments on characterization here in a few minutes. Next up is Brenda, WB50ZL. Brenda, your thoughts on the plot to Robot Monster from 1953.
Good evening. The time is 11 p.m.
This is WB50ZL. I'm sorry. Did you think this thing had a plot? Okay. You can suffer that delusion if you want. Oh my, where do I start? It was so stupid. I mean, more annoying than the stupid plot was the stupid people. This is the people I've ever seen in my life. They're just dumb as rocks and illogical. And you know, it's kind of like the teenage horror movie. I hear a noise outside. I'll go out in the dark and investigate. But you've got this homicidal monster out there, and you're going to go just stomping around the countryside. So this thing was an hour long. It seemed longer. And I think about a third of the time was spent with Roman just tromping around, just walking this way, that way, for no purpose. And so much illogic. Where did the dinosaurs and lizards come from, and why didn't they attack the humans? I didn't get that part. And they never clearly understood why they want to destroy the people of Earth. Or, you know, they sent one dumb guy down to do this job, to take out an entire planet with billions of people on it. Wouldn't you think they'd send a crew, a group of people to take care of this? One good thing about this is we got to see the Batcave, because that's where Roman was living. So much of it was just tropes. It's just stuff borrowed from other things, or, you know, worn-out ideas, like this interspecies romance. A gorilla would not be attracted to a human woman, and he was, just instantly. He just had to have her. And then, of course, he starts carrying her around, which happens scantily clad, and her lungs work really well. All right, I'll stop there. WE5OZL. Back to net.
BZWJ, what'd you think about the plot from KE5ICX?
This is KG5BZW. Yeah, the plot. Normally you have, a sequence of events that that was weird. Echoing was getting interrupted by something. But anyway, so sorry. One second here. Funny thing too. This wasn't a moment. What I was going for was, I would get drawn between, ideas of how the plot could go forward or something. This one is a complete emotion. It really was a bunch of ideas. There's hardly any connection between anything. It was so. It's just no blob of stuff, with the emulsifier. Just, I tried to figure out a way to describe it like a emotion, but that's really, I don't know if I've ever seen a story like this. Even the bad films we've seen, I don't think it's been this bad. I mean, maybe there's worse films, but I thought they had, I don't know, I thought there's something to them. This was so disjointed, and I don't know what to say. The only thing, other things that, there's too much to say about the plot, the lack thereof. It just, the only cool thing about the film is, hey, they had a flat screen, and that's probably because kids have a flat screen. So, flat screen TV or whatever exists in this world, and that's kind of only although I really suspect it's only by accident, but because it was probably cheaper to do that instead of real type of ray tube kind of stuff that looks kind of like the technology of today, but and I'm really kind of curious about that soldering iron. I've got big fat soldering iron, and I know these TVs and this require pretty big irons to do certain things, but that sucker was massive. It's like I don't know. That's all I can only comment on the most random aspect of this, because that's what this thing was. It's acting a little weird. KG553.
All right, thank you, Jay. Let me see. We're at the bottom of the list. I'll go ahead and ask if anyone else would like to join us. Tonight's movie is Monster Robot from 1953, a 3D movie with two-dimensional acting. Or is it one-dimensional acting? Oh, well, I guess that makes it a 2D movie if you subtract one from the other. Anyone else want to join us? Please come with your call now.
Whiskey 5. Bacon, lettuce, tomato. Bill in Garland. And yes, I saw this fine film.
I wondered where you ran off to. Well, we're glad you're back, Bill. W5BLT, you're up. Please tell us, what did you think about the plot for our fine film that you saw too?
Well, Your Honor, net control and Afterglow movie jury, I realized that it looks very bad for this movie, and I did fall asleep, and then the cats woke me up, and I thought I have to mount a defense for this movie. And so I would submit to you, Your Honor, net control and Afterglow movie jury, that this movie was way ahead of its time. Yes, we've seen this plot before, an evil monster wiping out a planet. And keep in mind, this monster with his death ray thing, or whatever he had, wiped out almost 2 billion people. There are 8 people left, and then they went down to 6. He killed some people on this, headed for this platform. And I think they even wiped out the space platform. And this movie really gets down to the heart of the matter. Your Honor, net control and Afterglow movie jury. Stumbled there, kind of like this movie, but it did get to the heart of the matter, and that is the human being. As human beings, we desire to stay alive and fight the odds no matter the cost, and we never give up, not without a fight. And they developed some magical vaccine thing that protected them from this monster's weapon, and therefore the monster had to go and hunt for them and try to kill them, physically. And of course, we've seen this plot before, where a kind of a gorilla falls in love with a woman and carries her around. I think it was King Kong or something. But while we've seen this plot before, we have not seen it done quite this way, and therefore I think the authors, film crew, anybody involved with this deserves our unbridled admiration. And keep in mind, I mean, for $16,000, and I think they made $1 million. That was quite a bit chunk of change for that day, and they knew enough to borrow from other films. I mean, why reinvent the wheel if you've got other stock footage there? So that showed some brilliance on their part. And I realize it's all a dream thing was done maybe like in Wizard of Oz and things like that, but then at the end there's a surprise appearance from the monster. Just enough to make you choke on your drink or popcorn if you're sitting there in the drive-in movie theater. The other thing that this movie had going for it is I had a piece of pumpkin pie while I watched it. And just now reviewing the movie, again, a couple days later, I get to have another piece of pumpkin pie with homemade Cool Whip. And therefore, I'm going to attempt to mount a brave defense against all odds, kind of like the human beings did. They were mounting a brave defense against all odds. I will defend this movie because, after all, it gets a free pass from me since it was made in 1953, and I love those types of movies. We won't talk about if it was made today. Back to you, Tom, W5BLT.
All right, well, thank you, Bill. Thank you for your comment. half a thumbs up or half a finger up or something, but very good. Okay, anyone else want to join us? Come with your call. All right, well, I'll go ahead and give my comments. Yeah, this is a bit odd. As with any story, the story has to be told by someone. The story has to be from somebody's point of view. Now, we have the boy, and we see that he falls asleep. He has to go take a nap out in the open, and then we go into the dream sequence, and which is really weird because it's kind of disjointed, trying to understand why all of a sudden we have monsters and stock footage from other films suddenly appearing with dinosaurs. But remember, we got kids, and kids love dinosaurs. We all love dinosaurs. I like dinosaurs. Didn't know one personally, but I always liked dinosaurs. And that's fine. That seems to fit with the boy dream thing. The stuff that didn't work, though, was, I guess it was his sister, and she had a boyfriend, and suddenly the gorilla, Roman, shows up, and now Roman wants to push the boyfriend out of the picture, and is in love with now I can't even remember her name, Alice. And so what is if this is the sister, first off, why does he even care? I mean, yeah, unless, of course, I don't know. And what's a gorilla going to do with a space helmet going to do? They certainly can't kiss. Well, not easily. I suppose they could. You need some Windex, I suppose, clean the helmet off a little bit on the glass. That's possible, I suppose. That might work. But I guess you're getting into some real monkey business. Now, I did put in here that the dinosaurs appeared and disappeared and where they came from. I guess they came from the alien planet and all that. That's fine. He did mention that he was that the boy had apologized and said that he wasn't from an invading world that was hell-bent on destruction, but benevolent world. And then his dream ends up being just the opposite. What's wrong with this kid? He lied to them. But, who knows? And by the way, when you're going to have a picnic and some place to sleep, the place looked like a stone quarry or a tar pit or something. Who goes there for a party? It looked pretty desolate. Now, of course, the film was in black and white, 3D black and white, but black and white nevertheless. So it sort of looked like not a very good place to go. I don't know. Maybe it was nice. I'd have to go back and look at my old Batman episodes to find out. So maybe there was some grass there. We just never saw it. It looked like a lot of rocks to me. Now, Roman, much as we dislike him, now there's his characterization. I don't want to get into his characterization, but his look, and maybe that's special effects. Is that part of the plot? I don't know. But he sure was liked by everybody. He appears in, all sorts of things. The Umbrella Academy comic book. He appears in the Looney Tunes Back in Action, Rocko's Modern Life, Power Rangers Zeo episode, Invasion of the Power Snatchers. There's a Roman costume in that, and a bunch of other things. And he appears in, you might think, from the Cars music video. So apparently he's very popular. Oh, and one thing, I want everybody to write this down and look into it. The SCP Foundation, there's a creature in it that takes the form of Roman. Now, the SCP Foundation is apparently kind of a creative writing group that's created this whole world and has done so over the last couple of decades. So Go check it out. There's a wiki on them. SCP, Sierra Charlie Papa Foundation. SCP Foundation. And I'm curious about it because now they got me interested to find out things like the crazy IKEA store that's run by space aliens. Yes, you didn't know that. In a chapter that's called "This Store is Closed." So this might actually be way better than this movie, even though this movie in part inspired SCP Foundation. Okay, that's it from me on that. I've stalled long enough. Let us move on to characterization. Bill, run back to the radio. It's your turn. We're talking about characterization. N5BB from KE5ICX.
Yes, I think it's characterization and acting, right? This is N5BB. Well, it's a silly movie. What do we think about the characterization of Roman? What does he do? He's constantly belittled by his superior, and his superior kills him at the end. And Roman is conflicted. He wants to kill the humans, but he's not very good at doing it. He only ends up killing one of them. And he just cannot bring himself to kill Alice. He's too besotted with her. And instead, what does he do? It's a little bondage scene. Did you notice there's 2 times in the movie that somebody is tied up? It looks like it's the same rope in both scenes. One of them is when Alice's father ties her up to prevent her from leaving and going and doing something. So she's sitting there tied up in their little family compound thing there. If it's a compound, it's out in the open. It's not really a compound. The other scene is when Roman has her, and he ties her up. And by the way, it looks like he's going to strip off her top, but so he strips off the top of her sleeveless gown. He starts to, but she quickly gathers it back up. So, this is an early 50s kind of sexploitation movie if you think about it. You've got the really pretty juicy Alice character, really kind of a hot tomato kind of character, which all the male leads, Roy and Roman, are drooling over. And of course, Alice is really smart. She's the one showing Roy how he has to solder. By the way, those soldering irons are really, really old. That's like 40s and early 50s style. It's not electronic soldering, really kind of soldering plumbing pipes or something. Anyway, so she's supposed to be the brainiac of the group. Yet she falls for Roy in, was it 5 seconds? Or was it 20 seconds? Didn't take long, did it? And they immediately want to get married. Reading between the lines there. Again, a little sex thrown in this movie, I tell you. By the way, did you notice she's wearing high heels? So they're out there in this horrible place. Rocky, rocks everywhere, climbing everywhere. And she's doing it in high heels. In a gown, funny-looking gown that's very crazy. I'm characterizing her character, which is a really smart babe who also is sexy, and she can wear high heels, and she can solder, But she's stupid. They have to tie her up to keep her from doing something because she's really hot-headed.
Node 4, 8,
That's how Alice is characterized.
2, timeout.
Everybody, including King Kong. I mean, Roman wants her. Carries her around and everything. Anyway, Roman is a weird character. What does he do? He traipses everywhere. Where is he going? Nobody knows. He just walks around, kind of lopes around, and then what do we see him doing? He goes into the cave. What is he doing in the cave? They won't show us. He goes into the cave. He comes out of the cave. He goes into the cave. He walks around outside. That's all he does. He's walking around and occasionally turns on the communicator to talk to his boss that berates him. Anyway, Roman is a really sad character, I'll tell you. Who would want to be Roman? By everybody. Nobody likes him. The humans hate him. He's killing everybody. He can't do his job very well, and he can't bring himself to kill Alice. I tell you, what a poor story for a Roman. It's not a robot. He's not a. I don't know what he is. Anyway, the kids are good kid. The good kid characters. I like them. They did a good job. I actually think they really look very realistic and everything. I like them. The mother and the father are. Well, by the way, the mother. This is Inside BB. The mother is a rather famous actress that was blacklisted, and that's why she made this movie, because she had a hard time in the commie scares in the 50s of getting other movies. So, but she appeared in a number of other movies and was rather well regarded. I don't know about the father. I don't know where he came from or what he did. But he looked rather kind of suave and official, and, you know, they all spoke pretty well. They knew their lines. They didn't flub their lines. Roman, though, had the stupidest lines, I think, in any movie I've ever seen. Just go back and look at the lines. They are horrible. They're horrible. I guess that's it. I guess that's all for now, Tom. I'm talked out. Inside BB.
Bill, you actually made me feel sorry for Roman. Here is a sympathetic character. All he tried to do was the best job he could, and this happens. And he gets killed by his boss because he messed up and didn't kill 8 people out of the 2.5 billion that were on the planet. Boy, talk about negative reinforcement. All right, next up is Tony. Tony, how did you feel about Roman? Was he a sympathetic character in the end, even though he killed off mankind, sort of, in a dream?
Well, you know, I really enjoyed Bill's summary of the characters. He did make me see Roman in a new light. I did feel sad there because otherwise I just saw him as kind of dumb and annoying. But now I see that, you know, it's tough to be a robot gorilla. Yep, I had to agree. The kids seemed pretty normal, which I guess, since it was all a kid's dream, that makes sense. The adults, on the other hand, oh man. Yeah, they seemed so just dumb and clunky. They're sleeping in a shelter with no roof, and heck, even when they were having the picnic and they took a nap, they just all randomly just fell asleep. I thought they'd been knocked unconscious by a ray from outer space or something. It's like you just kind of randomly flop everywhere, and that's shelter? Okay. Or how you take a nap at a picnic and wake up with the worst sunburn of your life. And you can't rebuild humanity from 8 people. It's not possible. I don't know why they thought that was possible, but it's, you know, again, I guess it was supposed to be a kid's dream, so it wasn't supposed to make sense.
I found the kids vivacious, the adults shockingly dense, and I was going to talk about how boring Roman was, but now I feel sad for him. Yeah, what a terrible job. He needs to complain to HR. Well, except he's dead. NT5TM.
Well, he's not dead. We don't even know if he existed because it was all in a dream. Or was it? KB9SOK, how did you feel about Roman in his job, his girlfriend that rejected him, the one he tied up, and the ending? But you tell us, what do you think about the characterization from KE5ICX?
Yeah, this is KB9SOK. Yeah, I agree. It's pretty well been summed up. Yeah, the kids were decent. They acted it well. They acted like, kids would. And yes, adults were complete idiots. Supposedly for scientists, they weren't exactly the brightest. I think one of the stupidest parts is they all knew that Roman was out looking for them. So, of course, the married couple runs off to go find a place to make out, I guess. And, of course, they get caught. Surprise, surprise. And then, the little girl, apparently the parents weren't paying no attention. She runs off, and then, of course, she gets killed. It just, if you really knew that there was a killer being out there looking for you, I don't think you'd go just wandering around all the time. These people were supposed to be brilliant people, but they definitely didn't act like it. And I think that kind of sums it up for most of our scientist group. The kids are decent, the scientists were dumb. Roman was, I think pretty well covered him. Not much more needs to be said about him or his boss. So, maybe the best actor goes to the person running the bubble machine. The movie, you are right, the movie does kind of insinuate that, was it a dream? Or was the kid just seeing the future? Because essentially at the end they do show Roman peering out of the cave. So, I guess they did have that little twist at the end. I actually kind of forgot about it. You just said that. But, not the brightest group. But then again, this was the kid's dream. What do you expect? Anyway, back to net, KB9SOK.
All right. Thank you, Sean. Next is Virginia, NV5F. Virginia, did you feel bad for Roman? Come on. You must have felt a little bit sad for the guy from KE5ICX.
Yes, Roman was a little pathetic. He was a downtrodden employee who just couldn't ever do anything right for his boss. Which reminds me of another riff on Roman that you didn't list earlier. There's an animated movie from 2010. It's a DreamWorks movie called Megamind, and Megamind is a skinny blue guy with a very large head, and his sidekick is a minion named Minion, and he's basically it's like this big robot gorilla, and instead of like a diving helmet looking thing on top, he's got like a fishbowl, and the actual Minion is a funny looking spiky piranha like fish with antennas sticking out of his head, and I guess he uses his implanted antennas to control the robot gorilla suit that's basically his body, and I think that's a riff on, that's a an homage to Roman, possibly. So yes, he was very popular in media. Yeah, I don't know. I thought the kid's acting was pretty terrible, especially the little boy. He sounded like he was just reading lines in the, the yearly school play or Christmas pageant or something, and the little girl, I guess, was a little bit better, and everybody else just kind of acted their stereotypical parts. Everything was pretty predictable as far as the characters and who was going to end up doing what, and then, of course, the young lady kicking and screaming was, very convincing. She did her part to, make a proper 50s science fiction movie. And, so, yeah, acting was fair to bad, and Roman, his voice characterization was interesting. It was a familiar voice. I did not look up the voice there, but it was a familiar voice that I know I've heard other places. It might have been an actor, I don't know, but it was something kind of familiar. I don't have a computer out right now to look it up. And anyway, so I'll keep it short because I'm tired. And yeah, everything was kind of just pretty. Yeah, and I actually kind of feel bad for Roman, and the lizards and dinosaurs. Their acting was spot on. They pulled their part off really convincingly, and the bubble machine was great. So that's it. NV5F.
All right, thank you, Virginia. And I did look him up. John Brown was the voice. He did sound familiar. Now, I was trying to find things that in here, and you might not be aware of this guy because the age difference between the two of us. I'm really old. But he was in, as an actor, he played in The Adventures of Ozzie and Harriet. He was the neighbor, Thorny, who appeared in just about every single episode. So that's where I recognize the voice from. I looked at some of these others. They don't ring a bell. Fred Allen's, My Friend Irma, and those, I never watched those as a kid, but the Adventures of Ozzie and Harriet were in heavy reruns when I was growing up, so that's where I saw it. He also appeared as the professor in Hitchcock's Stranger on a Train, and in A Day the Earth Stood Still. It says uncredited. I don't know what he played in that. So, yeah, I recognize the voice now that I know who John Brown was. He was Thorny from The Adventures of Ozzie and Harriet. Okay, next up is Brenda, WB50ZL. Brenda, characterization, you're up, and acting too.
This is WB50ZL. Oh, I love the Ozzie and Harriet show, especially Ricky Nelson. He got to sing every time he was dreamy. Yeah, the acting was awful. You pretty much didn't hear of these people because I don't think they had a career after this. But they were given horrible lines. It was a horrible story. And I guess the director wasn't very good either, given that nothing else about this show is quality. Yeah, it was pitiful as far as acting and characterization. You just wondered what they were thinking with this. They sat down and go, oh, let's do this and let's do that. And nobody stopped to say, oh, that's stupid. The weak characters, I think, helped drag down an already weak movie. They certainly didn't help. And they weren't the worst thing about the movie, but it definitely helped drag it down. Let's see. Well, what was cool was the location. At Griffith Park. It's a fun place, and lots of movies were made there. And I'm just almost at a loss for words now. So I won't try and force it. I'm going to turn it back. WB50ZL.
All right, thank you, Brenda. Less is more, I guess. Next up is KG5BZWJ. Your thoughts on characterization, acting in our fine film Robot Monster from 1953.
KG5BZW. I'm not going to comment on the human. The comments that observe is that, like, I kind of agree with that. The adults didn't really make much. I don't know. They had to have the screaming woman being smuggled, or not smuggled, but that's not word, but you know, the common is that whatever. No, that's not. Now, along with the thing, if I'm gonna start making up stuff, I'm gonna say my silly comments about how romance boss would never think could remotely be some sort of comment on communism because nobody has any individuality in communism, blah 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 blah. I mean, think about it, 1950s is that kind of portrayal as a background as a form of evil in American culture, anyway. I'm sure that was back in a lot of people's minds. So sure. When I have the same character, the same look, I don't know. I'm honestly just making that crap up. But also, I don't know. I don't know that there's much else I want to say. I do want to thank Tom for mentioning the SCP Constellation. I did not know they had history for man. I know I mentioned them before. Due to certain videos. That's kind of cool. But besides Roman, I'd say the Lizards probably had a best acting, which wasn't really acting. I mean, they were just fighting. When you think about it, it's kind of sad because you just pit two alligators against each other, and they were, doing their little death rolls and stuff, and hopefully what the other or was it two? I know one was alligator or croc. I don't know which one does the death roll more. I can't think of it. I don't know, but that did kind of look like a croc, if I'm not mistaken. Unless I'm just being dumb. Okay, I'm completely randomly saying nonsense and maybe not even be correct about what I'm saying. So I'm just going to shut up now. KG5DW.
Very good. Thank you, Jay. Next up is Bill, W5BLT. Bill, characterization, acting. You know the drill. Go ahead.
All right. Thank you, Tom. Based on evidence learned here today, we will be filing a wrongful termination and death suit against Roman's employer. I knew the tide would turn. Yeah. Well, I had some strange dreams as a kid, and that kind of fits in. Wait, I'm incriminating myself. Yeah, it makes some sense, I guess, if you see it from a kid's point of view, that it's all a dream, I suppose. And I laughed at Roman's lines, and of course the little girl always wanting to play house, and of course the boy wants to, fight invaders and things like that. And so that was an interesting thing in the movie. I don't know that I don't know that I dislike the characters. And of course, the more I learn here in the Afterglow movie net with the lady scientist tromping around, really dressed out of place for the occasion, and of course, everybody has good, colorful descriptions, so it's helped fill in a lot of the details for me. I think for that era, the characters did their part. That they, the internal conflict in Roman, should I obey orders or should I not obey orders? And, maybe we can all look back on some places of employment where we, had to maybe promote a product that we knew didn't, well, anyway. So yeah, it was an interesting movie. The characters were interesting. I think my favorite character, though, had to be the Roman. I was, here he is killing off all these people, and he wants to change. He wants to turn over a new leaf, and then he's just wiped out. W5BLT, back to you, Tom.
Okay, thank you, Bill. Okay, characterization. What can we say? Well, we got, 6, 7, 8 characters, right? 4, 8 characters. All of them boring and forgettable. Alice is irrational. I don't know, she's going to try and help out. The professor, yeah, I know you're going to say, and Marianne. But the professor was boring and kind of dumb. But how was he able to come up with a serum and that and whoever came up with the force field thing made out of electrical wire? And where'd they get the electricity for all this? So everything's been destroyed, and they're in the middle of nowhere. They don't even have a roof over their head. How the heck do they have electricity? And where do they get those iMac computers with those big screens, those big thin screens? Boy, they were ahead of their times, but no place to plug them in, of course. So I don't know about that. And how are they able to talk to Roman? They got the communications device. I guess that works. So, but they have to solder it so they can talk to Roman, and with the big soldering iron. That doesn't make much sense to me. But what do I know? And how do they know Roman's frequency? I don't know what Roman's frequency is. Is he on regular TV? Can we watch him there? I noticed every time that he spoke to the great guidance that he had to move the antenna over so that away from the bubble machine so that it didn't interfere with the bubbles, I guess. And then just a couple of times I thought it was funny. He's getting a phone call from the great guidance, and he's kind of like turns around and looks in disgust, goes back, moves the antenna and puts it up higher so that he can pick up the correct guidance and talk to him. What does my boss want from me now? Why now? I'm trying to kill people. He wants me to kill people. I have to stop and answer the phone to tell him so he can get an update on the fact that I haven't killed people. Then he yells at me, but I got to go kill the people. But I can't kill the people because I'm constantly answering the telephone thing. I mean, this is really difficult. It's no wonder. And his boss kills him. What kind of lesson are we trying to give Johnny? How is Johnny going to grow up? Is Johnny going to grow up and turn into the robot monster himself, Roman? He's going to be the guy. He's going to be the one. He's probably going to wear that space helmet. He's got one already. He can use that when he goes to work for the first time. Oh, and another thing. What's this deal with Mom and Alice wearing matching wear? What is that all about? This is the same dress. They're both wearing the same dress. I don't know. That didn't make any sense either. You could lose your mind. They dress alike. Sometimes they even talk alike. Well, they did. They talked illogically. So I don't know what that was about. That didn't make any sense. And who was it? Rob Roy. Who was it? Roy. Was he the love interest? I get mixed up. There was the father. I don't know. At any rate, all the characters are interchangeable. Especially the two with the same dress. But in all the world and all the places they had to be, they show up the same day at the same end of the world in the same dress. Jeez, what are the odds, man? Out of 2.5 billion people, they wear the same dress. All right, it is 11:49. I don't think we got enough time to go through everybody to meet the 12 o'clock deadline, but it doesn't matter. We don't have to. But I will ask, if you've got comments on special effects, and maybe you all do, it is entirely possible, please come with your call and I'll take you in order. Special effects, you got some, or any final words. This is your opportunity. I'll put you in the order that I hear you.
November 5. Bravo, bravo.
Oh, why not? November Tango 5, Tango Mike. Kilo Alpha to the west.
Okay, I got 3 out of 8 of us, so we'll start with Bill, then Tony, and then Jay. So, Bill, N5BB, go ahead.
Yes, this is N5BB. By the way, Elmer Bernstein, not to be confused with the unrelated Leonard Bernstein. Elmer Bernstein, this is one of his earlier films. He did a pretty good job on it. I really think, if you think about how bad this movie is, what if the music wasn't there, or if it was typical bad B-music, science fiction schlock? This movie would be unwatchable. But because of his music, you can actually watch this movie. That's what I believe. I believe we're sitting here and actually discussing it, and we watched it only because of the movie and the music. It definitely wasn't because of the plot. Okay, special effects. At the start of the movie, there were some credits up front, and one of them was a credit for the manufacture of the automatic billion bubble machine. Now remember, this was a 3D movie, and if you read around, you'll find that the one of the producers was really involved with this 3D process and was trying to make a movie show it off. So what I think is that the reason this horrible movie was made was just because of the 3D. By the way, guess what? They got a box office of $1 million for this movie. No kidding. With post-production cost, I think it was around a total of $60,000 total expense, and they were able to get $1 million of box office estimated. Isn't that amazing? But I think the reason for the automatic billion bubble machine, which was there multiple times, and you'll notice the kid, the boy, he was blowing bubbles near the start of the movie also. My guess is if we had 3D polarized glasses and we're looking at this in a movie theater, we would see all those bubbles coming toward us, and it would be a really neat 3D effect. I think that's the only reason for the bubbles. 3D. That's the only reason. There's probably a few other things in there that were only there because of the 3D. Another comment, he wasn't really Roman. Did you notice when his superior was really talking down to him, he called him by his real name, extension XJ-2. That's right, extension XJ-2 was Roman's real name. So he even had a horrible name. Now I got to read you something before I leave. This is in the Wikipedia entry for this movie. This movie, remember, came out in 1953. Here's the section titled Aftermath. Now, by the way, the director and one of the producers was a guy named Phil Tucker. In December of 1953, it was reported that Tucker tried to commit suicide at the Hollywood Knickerbocker Hotel, which is a fancy place that all the celebrities stay. He was only saved because he had written a suicide letter and sent it to a newspaper, which sent a reporter and some detectives to the hotel to check it out. But he was discovered with a pass in his pocket from the psychopathic ward of a veterans hospital. In the letter, the director, Tucker, said he had not been paid for Robot Monster and was unable to get a job. When I was refused a job, even as an usher, Tucker wrote, I finally realized my future in the film industry was bleak. It was revealed that Tucker and the producer had quarreled, and film exhibitors had instructions not to let Tucker, that's the director, in to see the film unless he paid admission. I think that's a suitable epilogue for this. And he didn't think he would ever get another job in the film industry, even as an usher. This is N5BB. Good night.
Boy, and we thought Ed Wood had it bad. Maybe this guy had it worse. Yeah, you gotta feel sorry for him. That's pretty sad. Okay, next is Tony, NT5TM. Tony, go ahead. Unload.
Oh, no, actually, the great irony here is that Bill said something I was thinking, which is I wondered if the bubbles were only there because of the 3D, which of course we can't see. The bubbles were one of the most consistently nonsensical effects. Why are there bubbles blowing everywhere? What's this even for? That and the constant random sparking, which hardly ever seemed to make any sense in Morse code. I got a 7 once.
But I sometimes wondered if they were trying to hide something like don't forget to drink your Ovaltine in the little. But if they did, I missed it. Anyway, bubbles everywhere. NV5TM. Good night.
All right, thank you, Tony. I'll interject this. Bill Biggs' good point about the bubbles, and I've seen several older 3D movies. I've seen Dial M for Murder, Kiss Me Kate, and Creature from the Black Lagoon, all on a large screen in 3D. It was part of a thing when I lived in Detroit at the Detroit Institute of Arts. They had a special showing of 3D movies over the summer, and it's very obvious why those films were filmed in 3D when you see them in 3D. It's exactly what you're talking about, things like tables in front of things, that getting stabbed and the guy falling forward and the knife sticking out of his back, Kiss Me Kate throwing scarves, and of course the Creature from the Black Lagoon swimming in that water as 3D kind of floating out in the theater. That sort of thing makes a lot of sense. Okay, next up is Jay, KG5BZW. Jay, go ahead.
All right, this is KG5BZW. Actually, I wanted to make a comment, but until I just realized the comment I wanted to make, I can't really verify, so I'm not even going to put it out there. I could comment on the negative, some negative special effects or whatever, silly stuff. But I don't know. There were special effects here which is interesting compared to some films we've had, which there really wasn't much anything besides set pieces and whatnot. The bubble machine, but now the one thing I was I'm going to withhold. So I'll hand it back. KG5BZW.
Good morning. The time is 12.
All right, thank you, Jay. Thanks for your comments. And I think we're going to leave it at that, folks. I was going to make some comments, but I'll make them real quick. The thing that always drives me nuts is when the story reverts back to no change in anything. I've always harped about that. And the only movie that I ever saw where they got away with it and it worked was The Wizard of Oz. And we were happy because we got a musical out of it, and a story was told, and Dorothy actually came out a better person because of it. But other shows, I've never seen it. There's an episode of Voyager, Star Trek Voyager, called The Year of Hell, that people hate because I guess it was a very good story, but it never happened because it was all a dream sequence. So dream sequences are always hated, universally hated, except for The Wizard of Oz. Next week's movie is, are you ready? The holiday classic, the British film Transatlantic Tunnel from 1935, with lots of science fiction elements in it and British people acting. Next week's movie, and then the holiday classic World War Z. That'll be December 14th. It'll be great. You'll love it. And then Planets Against Us from 1962. So it's just a trip down holiday memory lane. Well, this was all fun. I'm going to go and sit and watch, go sit in my comfy chair and fall asleep and watch whatever episode of Lost in Space this is. Dr. Smith has chemistry set. So what could possibly go wrong? Oh, yeah, a big explosion. 3, 2, 1. And explosion. Boy, it's not like I've seen this episode 2 or 3 bazillion times. Okay, see you all next week. Same bad time, same bad station, and don't you go be dreaming about robot monsters. This is KE5ICX, now clear.